Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I create lots of videos around the realness and rawness of relationship and how as women we can step into the fullness of our God-given identity. And so I'm excited for another conversation with you today. If you haven't noticed, I'm cozied up on the bed because we're gonna have ourselves a little heart-to-heart conversation. Picture this like a big sis on the internet giving you the advice that I wished I had had in my previous relationship experiences. So I invite you, maybe grab that warm drink, cozy up on the couch in your bed, and let's jump into the topic of breakups. I know, it's really not the most exciting or joyful of topics, but if we're honest, it's almost inevitable. The likelihood that you will marry the first person that you date is slim. It is possible. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I think it's actually beautiful when it does. But the reality is, it's often that we find ourselves in relationship with somebody and it's actually not meant to be. And it doesn't make the process bad. It actually is a beautiful experience to be in a relationship because we learn so much, not just about ourselves, but how we show up in relationship and how we can continue to become better at it. So if you're tuning into this video, it might be likely that you're questioning, what does this look like? What does it look like in relationship to come to a point where it's actually time to break up? Or maybe you actually know. Maybe you're wondering, how do I do this well? I've realized that it's time to call it quits. In today's video, I want to share a few insights into one, how to know when it's time to end the relationship, and two, how to end it well. How do you break up with somebody and leave it in a respectful manner and on a good note? See, it's easy to start a relationship well because you have so much good intent and you want to put your best foot forward. But sometimes we don't end the relationship well because we don't see the future with them. But the reality is we have a responsibility to care for the people that we have cared for and that have been a part of our lives. Let's jump in, ladies and gentlemen. Here are a few indicators that it might be time to end the relationship. So you might just know. You might just know internally, this isn't going anywhere. It's time to end it. There might be big red flags in your relationship and you know that you need to get out. And sometimes it's other wise voices in our life that we have to tune into because we're having a hard time deciphering inside of us what it is that we should do. But if you've come to a spot in relationship where you're wondering, is it time to call this quits, or is it time to push in further and try to resolve and try to work towards more in relationship? I would ask yourself these three questions. The first question being, even though you know it might be hard, it might be painful to end the relationship, is there a part of you deep down that knows that you'll actually be slightly relieved not being in relationship with that person? The second question I might ask myself is, do you both have different visions for your life? Is the relationship actually leading unto something that you both agree on? If it's not, it might be time to consider, is this going anywhere? Or am I just staying in this relationship because it's comfortable? Because I am enjoying the attention of the other person? And third question I might ask myself, I know it's brutally honest, but I would ask yourself, am I really in this anymore? Or am I actually enjoying the fact that other people might like me? And I'm entertaining that idea because I'm not actually fulfilled in the relationship that I'm in. If you know that any of those questions are a yes for you, it's very possible that it's time to call it quits. And I know it's painful and it's a sobering reality because the truth is you've probably poured a lot into the relationship. You've probably actually cared deeply about the person. And the truth is you don't have to stop caring about the person. Sometimes we think that in a breakup, we have to all of a sudden dislike who that person is. Sometimes that's actually not the case. Sometimes It's not that somebody did something terribly wrong and we have to break up, but other times it's just the fact that you are not fulfilled, that the relationship isn't going anywhere, that it's actually time to call it quits. So how do you break up with somebody? The reality is we are not created to live in short-term relationships. We are designed to be deeply connected with people. That's why we grieve when somebody dies. Because we are earthly beings, right? We have a side to us that can't comprehend the fullness of life and eternity. I think breakups are a glimmer of that same type of grief and pain. It's saying goodbye to something that will never exist again. So here are a few tips to end the relationship well, to do it respectfully and not just ghost somebody, but to maturely close the door in relationship. First step, I would highly encourage you to be settled on the decision inside of yourself so that when you show up and have the conversation with the person, you feel secure in your statements and response to the person, that you have a confident knowing that this needs to come to an end. It's hard, it's painful, but that's okay. That means that you loved well, that you cared well, that you have a compassionate heart for people. Then I would encourage you to ask the person to meet up. Don't give any sort of insinuation or give any reason for them to think that this is a date or an exciting experience you two are about to have. Let them know that you want to talk about something and ask them, do you have time today to meet? Make sure that you don't text them a week in advance. Don't let things simmer. Jump into the conversation and give it to them straight. Okay, now when you meet up with the person, choose a space that's safe, where you can openly have a conversation without worrying that other people are tuning into the conversation, where the other person can respond and cry and share emotion about how they're feeling. Now be honest. Let them know truthfully why you're breaking up with them. It's actually so important for the closure of the relationship for them to know where you're coming from, and allow them space to give you feedback for how they've experienced you in relationship. We all deserve to grow and learn from our relationships. Make sure you take ownership for anything that you need to, and then be clear. Make sure that it is so crystal clear and obvious that you are ending the relationship. You can use the words, I need to break up. I need to end this relationship for good. I need to make sure that we're on the same page, that this relationship is over, that we are breaking up. Make sure that it's clear, that there's no question or hope that tomorrow things might change, or you might feel differently, or if they did something differently, that things would be different. Make sure that it's clear what your intention is and what you're communicating. Don't leave room for confusion. Ask them if they feel like they're on the same page as you. Lastly, I know it's hard, but it's okay that it's painful. It's okay that they're hurt. It's okay that you feel pain for maybe even potentially hurting them. The reality is we have to release each other to God. You won't be able to fix the pain that they're feeling, and they won't be able to fix your pain either. You have to give them and their heart to God. They truly will be okay, and so will you. And now sometimes after we've made that clean, clear cut in breaking up with somebody, a few days might pass and you might begin to constantly think about them again. You might be questioning, did I do the right thing? Because the truth is you're missing them. It's the comfort. It's the common thing that you've known. It's the thing that you've woken up to every day for potentially months, years. But the reality is that in relationship, and specifically in deep romantic relationships, we form what are called soul ties. They're like attachments or bondings, and they're actually beautiful things. The Lord created them. Paul talks about them in 1 Corinthians 6:16. We need them for survival. It's something that's experienced between a mom and a child, or a husband and a wife. They're a good thing, but sometimes relationships end. That's life. Circumstances change. People make certain decisions. Someone could be physically distant and yet you emotionally feel attached to them because we formed an emotional attachment with them that needs to be broken, that needs to be released. And so if you have found yourself after a relationship feeling like, I don't know how to process this pain, I'm wondering how the other person is doing constantly, I'm grieving, one, Give yourself space and time. Journal out what you're feeling. Call a good friend. Do whatever you need to do to process the pain. When the memory or emotion comes up, feel it. Don't push it down or shove it away. Make sure that you give yourself space to feel the emotion, to feel the pain that you're feeling. Allow yourself to cry. I know it sounds so simple, but let it out. Don't hold things in. And now the emotional attachments I was talking about. Release the person to God and ask Him to release them from you and to break any emotional or physical attachments that you have with them. Surround yourself with people that you love and that can confirm the truth about who you are to you when you feel insecure in your decision or questioning if you made the right choice. Bring people into your process. Do not isolate yourself and do it alone. I want to tell you, I am so proud of you. If you have come to a space in yourself where you know that this is the decision that you need to make, that is so courageous. That's a huge decision, and that's something you should be proud of yourself for taking the action in, because you know on the other side of it, both you and the other person will be better off, and that you can do it well, that you can end the relationship well. So I want to give you that big sis pep talk. If that's where you found yourself at in your relationship, I want to cheer you on and tell you you can do it. You can do hard things, and on the other side of it, you will be okay. There's lessons that you will learn in this process that you will be thankful that you have one day. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have found this video helpful, if you have found these tips helpful, would you let me know in the comments below? Would you give this video a like? And if you want more videos like this where we have some sit down conversations across the internet about the realness of relationship, would you click subscribe? And like always, you guys, have a beautiful rest of your week. I will see you all next time.